Hey, what's up, family? It is your host, Dr. J, here with another episode for hashtag It Could Have Been Me. I'm feeling pumped and excited because I have two special guests in the building. I have Superintendent Nora Baston from Boston Police Department, and then I have Chief Michael Salisi from the City of Stowe. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. But before I do, quick disclaimer. Thrilled to be here with you all. Thrilled to be here with some of the top officials in law enforcement. And I say this because, look, and I'm hearing the sirens. Look at that, yeah! Represent. Thank you for doing that, Chief. That was you with the special effects.
Oh, yeah.
I say that because about 8 months ago, I had a Zoom call, and it was called It Could Have Been Me. And I brought people together because I wanted to figure out a way how we could humanize Black women. How law enforcement can come together. We built this bridge of belonging for us to be seen, because sometimes we're the victims and we see it on the news. So 8 months later, having relationships with both of you, knowing what you do and how you serve in the community is huge. And so I'm blessed to be here with the both of you, and I want to know who you are. I want to know your stories. And then we're going to jump into some dynamic questions and conversations. So, Superintendent Baston, who are you? This wonderful great dancer, this wonderful superintendent. Help me with the titles, because I don't want to disrespect anybody.
I'm Nora. I always try to tell people in the community, I'm just Nora. You know, they know me by name, and I'm glad that you asked me who I am, because I think that's important for us. I always try to let people know that this is, I just wear a uniform with the person inside, and especially the young people. I didn't have the easiest life. I didn't, they look at this and think we have PhDs from Harvard. And I'm like, I struggled in school. I had a really loving family, but I think, as you see my story continue and why I am so into giving back and mentorship, I didn't get here where I'm at alone. And that's from my family to getting a scholarship to UMass Lowell, being, absolutely blessed to, even get into college, but it was a big struggle. If I didn't have my 16 teammates literally carry me through college, giving me the confidence, helping me the way, showing me I can be somebody, I wouldn't be sitting here today. And this, I'm just excited to get more into that, but I am just a kid from Hyde Park who, always wanted to be a break dancer and be something, but really belonging. And, when I had losing my mom, it was a big, big deal in my life. It really set me back and not feeling alone. I had two loving sisters and two brothers and a dad, but my community, which was my basketball team at the time, wrapped their arms around me, my coaching, got me to be able to put on my blues and start my career at the age of 22.
Wow.
Never had a job. Right out of college, about 2 weeks later, I came on the police department.
Really?
Yes. Because I was too busy in summer school. Yeah.
Really?
And I bring my report card and tell kids that because I want to let them know that here's a kid who went to summer school every year, didn't pass their SATs, but I left at the age of 22 with a master's degree.
Good.
It's something, and this is not easy when you don't think you belong. I didn't think I belonged at Boston Latin. It's very difficult. I didn't think I was smart enough to belong, and the teacher actually did tell me they were going to kick me out of college at Boston Latin. And then I went to a university that said, we will give you the tools so you can succeed. It's a very big difference. And just believing in yourself is half the battle. And that's what I try to bring to kids in the community, that I am there for them, I believe in them, and I am that interested in adults. And that's all people want. And I just happen to wear a uniform. That's all. That's who I am.
Okay, Superintendent Baston, Nora,
Yes.
as she wants us to address. Thank you for the phenomenal introduction. So I just want to add something small, especially to our audience. Hashtag It Could Have Been Me. Let me explain where that came from, what it means. It simply means I am the exception. You are the exception. You are the exception. It could have been me, but it wasn't. So what made you stand out? Because we're saying the exception, not saying that you're better than anybody, but you're different. Maybe you had some allies, or you mentioned your teammates, you mentioned your school. So I just wanted to state that because I'm hearing a lot of themes come up as you're giving me your introduction on it could have been me, but it wasn't.
I'm the only one in my community that made it out that makes any sense. I came to Era, I went to college, 4 years later I came back, it was pill addiction, and I kind of was like, when did we all take a left turn, as, kids? And I think I had the support system, I think I had the mentorship, and I think that's so important, in people really being able to guide you and hold your hand and get you into, young adulthood, and teach you and show you the ways of success. I think it's very difficult, and that's why as a police officer, I really take the time to dive into communities, to really get down and get to know their families and the support they need, because everyone's story is different, every support system is different. So it could be that it could have been me, but I had a police officer who I met in the community who showed me success. I had a Jamila Gears, I had a Early, all these amazing officers that I was telling you about, this guy Canuto, that gave their life, like literally, like you wake up and you'll be able to say 30 years of the power of your badge to change lives. And I know people just say it, but when you're there and you dig down and you said, when do you sleep? You're really committed, you're really committed. There's no times off, there's no time frame.
Very well. Okay, thank you, Superintendent Basson. I appreciate that. Chief Salisi, who are you?
It's a hard question to answer, and I appreciate you inviting me, and your story is amazing. I feel that some of the things that you said I can definitely relate to. I feel that for me, my story started back in school. That's when I had the opportunity to delve into helping people. I became an EMT, and it was amazing experience that really led me into what I want to do. And at that time, I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't want to be like a police officer or anything like that. I went to school to become a teacher. I thought that that's the path I wanted to take. And as I started continuing on that path, I decided, well, this isn't really for me. And I love the public safety side of things. And as an EMT, we work closely with police officers. It's like, wow, they're really helping people. And that's really pulling me towards that. How can I succeed? And how can I continue helping people? So I switched schools and I went for my bachelor's degree. And I had the support of my family. I have no sisters or brothers, so I'm the only child. Hopefully that won't come through today. But I had my family supporting me, and I feel that education is really important, right? Because we want to be able to get through and learn. I did not go for my master's until this year. I have one class left. I'll be done hopefully in a couple months. And so it's not never too late to learn new things. And I had the opportunity to be in my hometown where I grew up. And it's very different than Boston. It is a smaller community. We have more land, acreage than we have people. And so it's a different perspective that I grew up with. And I understand that, and I appreciate that. People come from different perspectives. And the question for me is, how can I make it available to everybody? And that's my role now. I think that I was able to work up through the ranks. I was able to join our local fire department when I was young. Again, on that EMT route, and I always saw the cops, and I was like, that's where I'm going to be. And that connection really fostered continuing my career as an intern with the police department, dispatcher, police officer, detective sergeant, all the way to becoming chief. And now here I am. And I really feel that in my role, I can make policy differences to help our community, help the people in our community. When I say community, it's not just so. It's everybody. If they're, the communities are customers. We have to serve them. They are who we're supposed to be doing things for. And the fact that you talk about, having that authority and to change lives is incredible, right? Because we're not just police officers. We are people. I have feelings, I have beliefs, and we have to stay in the middle. We can't show those beliefs. We have to stand in the middle and make sure everybody has that voice. How can we help people? Because sometimes I may not have the answer, but somebody else will, or they'll have the skills. I don't know everything. There are smarter people than me out there that can help. So how do I bring those worlds together?
Very well. Okay. Let's jump right into it then. Hashtag it could have been me, but Superintendent Basson, I might have to borrow. I'll give you some credit when you said, but I had a Jamila, but I had a so-and-so. So we're going to add that to the podcast. My question to you is this. What hurdles or challenges have you overcame in your role with your identity as a person of color?
How long do we have? So my journey hasn't been easy, but I do want to say I've been on 29 years and we're going on my 18th year in the command staff. So also I have to reflect back and say I've had it pretty good. I've spent more time on the command staff than I have in patrol. So I always try to look back at how bad it is, and I'm like, you know what, I have it pretty good. You know what I mean? Like I really try to put that back in perspective. But it hasn't been an easy journey because I came up so young. So I came on, you know, we had a new commissioner, and I'm just going on to I just made sergeant, newly sergeant. We had an outside commissioner, Ed Davis, and he came from Lowell. Okay. And this was back with community policing has not been the thing. I know it is now. I know the department says it.
Yeah.
If it was, I know the people on the street, because I was one of them. We picked up our keys at, I worked the midnight shift at 11:45 and dropped them off at 7:30. Answered the calls, did my best, but to talk and spend all this extra time, other than I was giving directions of like which court to go to, it was really based in the law enforcement world. So he comes to Boston, and his big thing is we're going to start building relationships. Well, indirectly up here, right up the street in Grove Hall, is where I was assigned as a sergeant, newly sergeant, and that was one of the areas because he picked the most crime, hotspot areas. We're going to put officers, a sergeant and 6 officers to walk, fight crime, build relationships, and all that. So he picked me indirectly, and I got my team, and I, to be honest, thought community policing was you just had to be visible. Right. He said I wasn't in the car. Right. We locked up everybody. I was locking up kids from Georgetown. Really? The kids that grew up that were like, Juve, you know, waving their hand across the street, and I'm like, Jugga, get out of here. Yeah. And I remember the mayor and the commissioner coming up about 2 months in, and we were locking up everyone, like cleaning up an area, putting a hotspot area, and I was like, he's gonna say some good things, and he came out of the barber shop in the community center, and he said, how come no one knows your name? And I said, and I was kind of like, well, why would they? Because I was really confused at the concept, and he said, no one in the stores know you, the kids don't know you, and I just was kind of confused. He said, Nara, I need you building relationships and building trust, not just locking everyone up. So I kind of was like, came back and, you know, went to Lowell, played basketball, and using the tool that you had. I said, well, how can I build relationships? What can I do? The community that I really thought were all game bangers, by the way. I had those stereotypes. Yeah. And so did my officers. Yeah. So I said, I know what we can do, play basketball. Because I just was still young, so I asked the officers on the, you know, they want to build relationships. They all actually said they didn't want to participate. So I got a new team of 6, which were more seasoned officers that grew up in the neighborhood, lived actually in Grove Hall, that knew the walk and meet, like the old-fashioned walk and meets. Okay. Kind of mix of young and old, because I still need to fight crime and I need to build relationships. So, and I asked some of my friends from Lowell, if you were a white male at the time, they thought you were a cop in that area, and they weren't cops. And we would show up and say, we got next. And they would say, is that the police lady? And we would play basketball. And that's the easiest tool because it's that organic relationship, right? That you don't have to force. That I love the game, and you can tell I love the game I wanted to play. And it was an easy way for us to play an hour game, and then the game's over, we kind of go back, so breaking the ice. So I was doing that probably a few times a week. I'm talking 9 and 10 o'clock at night. But you don't even see the police. And what the changing point for me was I was walking across the street with my team, still trying to fight crime. We had this code word that because we were going to arrest someone, we were talking to you, and the team didn't know that. They would always get away, and we looked like Keystone cops, and all the cops would say, you guys can't even chase the people up there. We would like crashing into each other. So we would look pretty dumb, the team, because they would always get away. We'd always be chasing people on the radio, foot chasing. Back at the station, they'd say, what are you guys doing up there? You can't even catch the bad guy. So we had this code word that we were going to use. We were I was going to say something. I said, okay, one of the officers on our team was a big bodybuilder. We would go and Stop and Shop, and he would bring a big thing of bananas and fruits, and I would say, Singletary, you're going to eat all those bananas and apples, like 12 bananas and all those apples? Aren't you going to be constipated? He'd say, nope, I need the potassium. So I said, that's our code word, banana. So by the time I sneak or anything, when you hear the word banana, you know that we're going to arrest the person. So a group of kids walking across the street, about 4 or 5, not doing anything, just a group. This is my stereotypes clicking. Bad kids, the area, Castlegate, bad kid. This is what I was programmed to, because I didn't know my community. And I said, banana, left, and we're getting ready to tie my shoe, clean it off, and the kids put their hood down and they waved and they said, Sergeant Bass, and when we're playing basketball again.
Oh, wow.
And it like changed my whole career
Wow.
point of like when I realized like I get what the mayor was saying, I get what the commissioner's saying, like it really set me back. And it really just was my turning point where I was like, my whole vision and mindset of policing changed.
So do you think, so fighting crime, building relationships, if you're building more and better relationships, does crime go down?
Yeah, yes, but when you're a new person that never knew what that was, you don't think it's the same. You think it's one or the other.
Right.
It's like you're either community policing or you. That's why community policing is fighting crime. Community policing is fighting fear. That's the main core of it. People don't feel safe and don't like. But if you are not from that world, you think it's this other world, and then you're not a real cop if you're like building relationships. Years ago, and that was the thing.
Yeah.
So when I came on, that was kind of the stigma. Everyone would say, "Oh, you're going to play basketball? We're arresting people. We're fighting crime." And I would say, "Oh, I'm getting to the kid, and getting his life before he fights the crime.
Right.
Getting his life mentoring so he doesn't pick up the gun." But when you're young as a cop, you don't. I mean, I understand it now.
Yeah.
If you asked me as a rookie, I was like, "No cops don't play basketball." That's that. Now that has changed in policing.
Of course.
But back, that's how my path started. That's how it really connects. So for me to be on that many years, only female, so what they did is he then brought me and said, "We're going to make you a deputy." So with 10 years on, and you know, Chief, only 10 years on, and become a command staff, you're going past sergeants, detectives, lieutenant detectives, captain detectives, and to go all the way up the chain. At the time was all, other than a Commissioner Cox, he was a deputy, we had all men. So I'm up in the world of all men, mostly white men.
Yeah.
And here comes this woman now. You have to understand, I see how it was a backlash. 10 years on the job, I can see how it was a little bit wrong. Usually command staff is like 30 years, knowledge. But he was trying to make a point of this buying of community policing. And that's not going to make a point when he promoted me.
Yeah.
But when you said how hard was that to then live in that world,
Yeah.
it was very difficult because I wasn't accepted. I didn't feel like I belonged. I started questioning if I was valued, if I could speak. So it was a lot of years of silence for me. That's why I said, so even though I got it and it was good in the community, in my own world, I was scared. I was scared of just speaking up and I didn't think I belonged. It wasn't the most welcoming atmosphere. Not in a bad way, just more of like, I have 10 years on, like, you can't speak. We have 30, you have 10. We'll ask you when we need advice from the rookie. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, so, I've heard stories and I've seen it where
Promoted too quickly.
You're promoted too quickly, and more not from my command staff, but like you have sergeants that will tell line officers, listen, you don't get paid, you get paid to do it.
Yes, that's our organization.
So, and I love your story, I love your journey. This is incredible. I didn't have the same, obviously, I didn't have the same hurdles to jump over.
Yes.
But what I found is, you're right, as a rookie, I locked up everybody. Like,
yes,
that was my thing. So, like,
yes.
I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought, hey, listen, what is our job? Law and order, right? Enforcement. Everything. And, we don't make a small community, we don't make a lot of arrests. I think it's very small. And we were having, at the time, maybe 100 arrests a year. I know it's nothing. I would have 80 to 85 of those arrests.
Wow.
And I was like, this is my job. The way I viewed it was, I have to make crime uncomfortable to succeed in this community. So what does that do, though, right? Locking everybody up, it puts a reputation on you that you're trying not to swear here.
Yeah. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
And when people saw you, they knew too.
They knew too. But what does that work? That doesn't work because what happens is they don't trust you and they don't report crimes to you and they keep things to themselves. And so you don't have that trust with the community. So you have to start you really have to start changing your mindset. And for me, I started as I started getting older in my career.
Yeah.
And I'm still young. I haven't even hit 50 yet, but I start looking at things. How can we do things better? How can we serve our community better? And I had the fortunate that we had sort of justice come out of court in our 14 communities. We started using restorative justice more. I saw that, and I turned around, and then as time goes on, what other things can we do? How can we make our community better? And I'm going to say this was probably like seven years ago. I experienced a loss. A good friend of mine was killed in a motorcycle accident, and I went to the house. I knew that he was from the next town over, and the lieutenant there called me and he said, "Hey, listen, we're gonna get killed." I was, "Oh my God." So I went to the house, and there was this woman there at the house that I didn't recognize. It turns out she was a jailbird. She was a mental health patient. And ever since I saw her, I was like, wow, she's really helped the family. So I was like, as a sergeant, and how can we get this program going? And a couple of years later, I don't care if I don't get the chief's position. This program's going to
Did you
suck.
bring it?
We brought it,
That's amazing.
transport. And I got to tell you, at first you have those seat problems. I don't want this person in my car. I don't want them to help me. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to evaluate me. They're going to help me do something. Not like that at all. Now they're fighting on who it is. And here's something I got to tell you, my officers, they did this on their own. I'm so proud of them. Talk about like reaching back and doing more for the community, spending that extra time. They took that to the next level of, if the clinician wasn't working, they would say 2 to 3 hours with one call, and they would call clinicians from outside agencies to respond to get them on scene, just to make sure they didn't have to arrest someone for disorderly, and make sure they didn't have to send 12 somebody to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I didn't even put a directive on it. That was all them doing that, and that isn't got me to the point where we got another coming in. So it's like,
You've seen the change. Like
I've seen the change. And
I
I was so proud because it's like, this is how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be helping people. Yes, there are some people that need to go to jail. There are sometimes the bracelets have to go on. There are bad people out there that need to be stopped.
Say the bracelets?
Okay.
Sometimes
people need to. Sometimes
I used to wear 2 pet ears bracelets. I don't even have cuffs on now. They're my cuffs. I haven't cuffed anyone in probably 20 years.
See, I still go on patrol.
I'm on patrol, I know, but I'm always like, yeah, people with me, but on patrol.
Oh, yeah, people that.
You bump into more stuff than you think.
Yeah.
I have my to-go bag now with the Narcan and everything, because when you walk in, you go on it, and you're the first one in, you have to respond. So I do with my full duty belt, I have the Narcan, I have the quick clot, I have name it. I need it. I mean, it's more walking meters.
But it's.
Yeah.
I was just saying, going back to it though, the policing has changed. Right?
Oh,
And my mindset has changed. Like originally, it was I want to put everybody in jail. I got sent out of court. I was a court-oriented officer. This is how it goes. And now I'm like, how do we not repeat?
And not only that, remember when I couldn't get, no one wanted to be on my team? Mm-hmm. More people in this job want to do community policing, meaning walk up people and build relationships.
Okay.
And treat outreach and do mental health. The generation is completely different than it was 30 years ago.
So what shifted then? What was?
First of all, a lot of things have happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just the way you said it, I know I'm trying to. So what happened then?
The murder of George Floyd.
Yeah,
that was a big
George
push.
Floyd.
That was a big push, especially so we're now post state, which means we have pretty much just a civilian oversight committee that's run by the state, which you cannot have prior law enforcement to be part of that organization.
Oh.
So to be on and they have 2. They have a standard side and complaints basically side. So that was a big shift. What was interesting about that is that as chiefs, we and I've only been a chief for 4 years, but we pushed for that like 10 years ago. Yeah. So we wanted to become this. We wanted all this. So it was kind of forced. It was good that we have it, but it was enforced in a way that we needed more discussion.
Yeah.
But we need to.
But even before George Floyd, when we had before Floyd, we had Waldron.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And I remember when I said going back with that Davis so long ago, putting in, we call it deposits, right? When it all happened, I remember Washington would call before a big thing happens all over the country. They think it's in effect. They called the police departments. I remember being with one of the commissioners, and we were supposed to have a basketball game, and they sent someone from Washington, and they're gonna talk about, you can see it on the news. And I remember going up to St. Peter's, and I'm with the game unit, and the game unit was playing basketball in Boston. That was the people that were building relationships more than anyone. They had the bad rap. They were out there building relationships, but social media wasn't as big to show this.
Okay.
And we're talking about what happened. I think it was Brown. And the kids would raise their hand and go, "Are we going to play basketball now?" Like, we had built such strong relationships.
Wow.
And that's why it's so important. So when these things do happen,
Yeah.
that the national narrative doesn't become their narrative. But one of the things I also think has changed is our recruitment.
Okay, say more.
Okay, so when I came on the job, 87% white male, and I don't want to say anything because they're white and the men, it's just the military, like
It's
you
okay,
get.
I'm right here.
No, I think it's more the mindset.
Yeah.
Because if people became on, we're still who we are, but our
Yeah.
mindset has changed. Because when you came in, that's what you were trained. You were trained in now we have community engagement classes. They spend weeks and weeks through the academy, 31 weeks in the community. The communities, academies, you bring diversity. Diversity, and not in just color and journeys, and we're able to speak about it, right? It's a value because we go in communities and we want to share our stories.
Right.
Before it wasn't part of our job to talk to people. So why would we be sharing it? Why would they know our story? They just judge him with stereotypes, white male.
Yeah.
So he's already judged.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a little pass. Okay, I think is she half black? Okay, we're gonna give her a little bit pass, but she's from Boston, you know. It was all built on stereotypes because we didn't talk. We started having conversation more. I think it forced the dialogues. All these things forced us, even when we didn't want it. It was always a group that every department kind of, but this has forced, I think, everyone. You have, I don't have just the community service officers, all the offices, like you said. Before it was the designated person.
Yeah.
Now all the offices, this generation is different. They want to be included. They want to give back. They want to make a difference. It's not about money and overtime and a different generation and just fighting crime. Right? They're there to be like, they also want to do that extra step where we're so used to boxes. Like, no, that's a detective's role. No, this person. They want to do it all. And that's, I think, part of the challenge. And when they don't feel included, exit stage right. They're kind of like, I'm not valued. Kind of like how I said in this level. The patrolman with one you're on he might leave. That's if they don't feel like they're part of the conversation. And normally it's like, you're the patrolman. We don't, you will tell you what to do. And now this brainstorming ideas, how many people will I'll send a picture and they have all these ideas of different things and these younger cops with not even on probation that are amazing. And the difference is we embrace it now. A chief would never talk to his patrolman. He now embraces their ideas. We're all part of the conversation. Our commissioner comes out, we have community accommodations of officers all the time, not at the ball and the banquet. He wants to let them know their everyday work. And it's not always the gun. The commissioner purposely did this because he wants to embrace engagement. This commissioner is like, we all are going to do engagement. It's not anyone's job. It's not ours. It's not the Bureau of Community Engagement. It's not all these. It's like, it's all of ours. And even on our level, he's like, it's all my command staff. It's my captains. And I don't know how you do it, Chief, but our Commissioner Cox is like very like, we all will do community engagement. Well, if you saw that years ago, that wasn't how the department was run. We're very paramilitary structured and.
I think this is the Nora show. I'm just trying to get questions in, audience.
I told you.
But I'm just going to step out of the way.
No.
I love it.
I'll talk a little bit about like, what I see on recruiting.
Please.
And I guess I was really ignorant back in the day. I didn't know that. I thought civil service, here we go, and I would see, myself, while I got a good score, other people would be like top of the list, whether it be women, less, and I'm like, this isn't fair. This is, it should be just based on the scores. It should just be based on the scores.
Military got preference.
Military got preference. But what I realized later on as you grow, you educate yourself, that you find out, well, it's because I had services or when I had an opportunity in front of me, not everybody had that same opportunity. So it is bringing it up to a level field. It is bringing it up. It wasn't that they were better than me or anything like that, or they were getting a better advantage. They had a disadvantage before. And so now I learned that, and I was like, well, how can I change it? My community is not a civil service community. So as chief, you get to like, oh, how can we make things better? So a couple of things that I did is I started bringing civilians into the interview process, into the renewal process. And after we advertised the hiring committee, which is made up of like department members and community members, and I look at the resumes, and they get all the resumes, but I take all their names off of it because their name can actually put bias, persuade somebody. So let's just base it on that, and then let's bring everybody in. And what we're seeing now though is many people can't get back. They're not getting the physical.
Why is that?
Because they're not in shape enough, and so they're failing those tests to get in. So before
Free academies.
the free academy.
I used to get in. The academy is a whole other level.
Yeah.
Get in.
So what we started doing.
Very different.
So we started doing. We ran our own physical test.
Oh.
And we said, listen, come on out, take this, and we'll see how you do. There are people that can't, they can't get here, so we'll come get you. And I was like, here's the problem, and I see with the law. So, Massachusetts, right, you have to live within 15 miles. There's a law that says you have to live within 15 miles. What's all the 15 miles around? So, Lexington, Bedford, great communities, very, very white communities.
Yeah.
So the edge of snow, I think it's the edge of Brighton, maybe.
Okay.
It's 15. That's Boston.
Yeah.
Take anybody. I'll stand up and I'll take anybody. I want to bring community work. I'll be like this. We can't just have such a small, selective people. Anytime you exclude somebody, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And so let's look at it. Let's ignore that rule, and let's bring anybody who wants to become an officer. And the thing for the small communities is before I was chief, we never sent anyone to the academy since 1988. Everybody had to be fully academy trained before you sent yourself. And so now I was able to start sending people to the academy, and so that's a big change, a big shift in.
And to know what they expect, because when you came on before, in the defense of everyone, we're old timers now, we signed up and that was the job. It's like if they switch your job in the middle of, like, you have 20 years on, they go, well, now you're not doing the talk show, now you're going to go cook. And you're like, well, I'm on the talk show. Like, so for the people that came on and they signed up for this and we advertised for this, it's like the job shifted, and I can see this big pushback of, like, now you're going to engage, now they want you out there, like, doing, it's a lot for some people. It's a lot, but the other group came on knowing this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's advertised this way. They know what to expect of the academy. So it's like cultures, you have generations, right?
Yep.
Gen X, Gen Z, you have all these generations. How do you manage that? And how do you be chief of that? It's very difficult. Keep everyone happy and the morale up. Welcome to our job.
I see, I'm learning. But if I could just jump in.
Yeah.
She is the president. I'm trying to ask questions. For this part of the show, I call it the WOH. We out here now. And pretty much with the we out here now, it's like imagine being in the middle of the ocean. No compass, no map, it's just you. And you're on this boat, and you have to make a decision on where you're going to go next. Whatever decision you make, it's either going to result in a consequence or a new pathway forward. So I have my we out here questions. Because we out here now. We out here now. How?
Well, this is a trick question.
No, I'm serious. Y'all
This is
know
like
what I'm talking
talking. She's throwing us a hard ball. It's like, let me put them back in their place.
No, never.
Consequence or new path.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your answer, hopefully will lead to a new path, as you all were talking about. Unconscious bias. All right. Some people will define it as quick decisions being made, and certain people are placed in different categories because you're moving fast, and you have to make these quick decisions. But when I think about the definition of unconscious bias, I look at it as where we're putting people in boxes, and you won't let them get out of that class or that box. So if you were to look at me, I've had people say to me, matter of fact, I had them say to my mom once, we were at a hotel, and she picked up a piece of paper, and this guy said, hey, we'll need your services today. And until you saw your eyes got big, and I looked at him, and I said, Mama, don't do it, and she said, I don't want you. What made him think, just because she was picking up a piece of paper, that she was housekeeping? So when I think about unconscious bias, automatically keep her putting first. All right, so keep that in mind, unconscious bias. With you all being at the top of your game in law enforcement, how are you supposed to be an officer, building relationships, building trust? How are you supposed to be mindful of your safety, be mindful of everyone else's safety, and not have that unconscious bias? Like, somebody pulls out a weapon, and it's like, you gotta keep everyone safe. But at the same time,
That's always looking around. You're always looking at everybody. How on a bigger level, how do we ask ourselves, would I take this action if It's always a great question to ask yourself to step back and would I do something different if they were white, black, or
Well, but it's so fast.
Our job is so fast.
It
Like
is
you
so
said, we're
fast.
walking out, that's the big, that's
So
the,
how do you
that's
do it?
the
Like
$1
just
question.
now, I didn't know to look until both y'all looked.
Mhm.
Okay, both of them looked, and I need to look too. So, how do you do it?
That's the balance, that's why our job is difficult. It is extremely, but it hasn't, like I said in my story, I'm not walking down the street just thinking because I'm in an area and I see 3 black males, my bias is not that level. It's not, I don't have that box anymore. And the more you go out in the community, the more you get to know people in the community and differences and struggles, like if you don't know it and understand it, it makes the box smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yep.
So the key to me is like going out there and getting to know people.
So get in their face.
Deep getting to know people, and that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot. It doesn't mean at a community, at a coffee with a cop.
Right. Okay, so it doesn't mean coffee with a cop.
No, it's at these
No, don't
positive interactions. It's like knowing people at the worst time, and that's what we have. But I think you really have to get to know people.
so what if like talk about knowing people and coffee with a cop? Yes, we do all
Yes,
those.
yes.
We don't do all those things. One of the thing I would like to say about one of my officers, my FTO officer, that goes out and trains new officers, is he takes them to our local supermarket. He says, I want you to go talk to 10 people, find out their story, and then come back. And he sits there and he watches them, because the struggle for new officers is how do you talk to people?
Really?
That is the biggest struggle. But if you write tickets, they can do. If you say go to that basketball court, nothing, and just watch and get to know them. It is a struggle.
Yeah.
We had an event the other day at the Celtics. It was an evening with the Celtics, and it was an amazing
Oh,
event.
okay. Celtics.
And we made, the commissioner came, we all came, and it was amazing. And you saw the cops that are very natural, and they were sitting down with the kids, including myself, and there was 500 kids there, and it was at a church. And then the newer cops, which I trained, by the way, they came out of my academy. I saw the difficulty. They were in each corner of the church. And I was watching them, and I'm like, and I know they're friendly people too, because some of them I knew personally. And I'm like, are they on guard? Is there going to be an active shooter? Like, I was really confused if they were not comfortable to sit in the pew and say to the kid, hey, I just played you basketball. They don't know how to, and this is the hardest thing that I hear, the complaint, the newer generation, it could be because of video games, whatever.
Yeah.
They do not know how to,
I would say it's more because they communicate in text.
text and that. They don't know that interaction, this conversation that is, what the chief said is extremely accurate. They cannot, it is extremely true.
How do you?
How do you train to have a normal conversation?
If you brought a new officer.
Wow.
Right?
You just do it.
And I was going to bring you into the academy. Remember, I wanted A,
You
B,
did.
and just to train, how do you do that? And they're new, so they're very conscious of stay alert, stay alive. Right? It's all these things.
Position 2.5.
Yes.
Gun side away.
And now-
defensive tactics.
Yes.
And I experience in Massachusetts is one of the best defensive tactic instructors, or the guy who runs the truck. He's amazing. And he's so that's their mindset. They want to protect themselves. They got to play
Scenario plays does not come in here, and the woman comes in and we're doing nothing. We train them of like there's a gun hidden under here, under the seat, and your stash drugs. Like, so we're very focused on that, which is very important. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the complaint always is because I say, Nara, your officers don't just know how to like have a normal conversation, and like they're always on alert. And like, that's the biggest.
I want to just Paul.
Then we're gonna let you speak.
Yeah.
Thank you. You don't let me speak.
And then I gotta tell you.
There's 2 police officers here.
I see.
But I wanted to say, like, what I just said about Kentucky, I learned something 20-something years ago, and that was absolutely shocking in health area, and I put it on to everybody. Is when we interact with someone, no matter what, if it is in community or talking like this or whatever it is, you want to leave that person better. You want to have them feel hurt because you're making it better for the next officer. You're going to make that interaction better for the next officer. If you treat them right and you treat them with respect, even if you have to arrest them, it's going to be better for your next officer. Your next officer, your further officer, is going to have to use less force because if you leave something bad and it tastes in their mouth, and then you had to wrestle with somebody and you treated them unjustly, that next officer has got such a wall to jump over before that they have to break down.
Right.
So that was something he taught, and I'll forever take that with my career.
And let's break it.
What?
You don't talk about it.
Common misconception.
I mean, the one that's obvious, that we're not part of our community. We, like I said, the chief said, we have to be very neutral in things, that we don't have feelings, that we're not affected by the issues that happen that affect our community. Like the murder of George Floyd, it affected me so bad in all the police departments. So to sit on those riot lines and to think that the people facing us thought we believed in it and we believe, you know what I mean? We have to be very neutral. We have to go to protests, and even though we're like, wow, we believe in that, right? The misconception is people automatically think the negative, that we're part of the negative side. And it's a very difficult thing to show people that we care, because unfortunately this uniform automatically brings stereotypes. He will be treated differently once they know he's in plain clothes. Once he says he's the chief, he's already being labeled, all those implicit biases, it's like it changes trajectory. It happens in the community, it happens in your personal life. When you meet people, if we went out to dinner, I'm always telling my friends, don't say what I do. Please do not say what I do. Oh yeah, it changes, and I hate to say it more negative towards the positive.
I would say misunderstanding.
Yes.
Big misunderstanding of who we are and why we do things. It's always easier to explain how we did it, or why we did it and how we did it. If I can defend officers, but I do the same thing. I understand my family's proud. We don't need to do. We don't need that, because even your own family doesn't understand. Extended family, and they come up and say, they think it's like, well, do you really have quotas? Do you really tickets?
You really just want to make a lot of money.
Do you want to make a lot of money? Well, yes, we all want to make a lot of money. Well, I was going to say everybody.
I'm on salary. I can expect, yes. It's not about money at all. It's not about money.
For me, it's really about giving back to the community that I grew up in. I think it's an amazing community. I think for me, it's like, how can I help? How can I change things that need to be changed in a positive way? How can we make it better? When I went for chief, that's what I said. So we want to be better. We want to be better as a department. We want to be better as how we treat our customers, which is every resident and guest that comes into the community. And that is something that I've always been pushing for.
How can we ease up the fears in the community? Like, for instance, I'll use myself. As a Black woman, moving from Florida to Massachusetts, I often found that I was the only Black person or the only Black woman in the room. And then I noticed I started getting pulled over a lot when I moved up here. I don't know. I still have my Florida tags. They said you gotta have a sticker on the front of your car. I didn't know this stuff. And so when I say hashtag, it could have been me, but I'm gonna tell you all how I got out of those scary situations. I would put on lipstick and take off my hair bonnet and turn on, take off my slang, take off my Southern accent, and say, my name is Dr. Pepple. And then they would say, we'll let you go with the warning.
And you thought because you did those things it changed the officer's outcome. I'm going to ask you that.
Oh, wait a minute. Y'all see how she put it? I think so. I think so.
And you know what, in Boston, and I'm sure you guys did it in Stowe, Chief, we would have these youth dialogues, and we would change, we would do role playing. And we would. And we would say, you're the police officer, and we are going to be the kids in the call that you get. We would do. We would give them the radio and say, you get a call to, and when you flip the scenario, you really put yourself in our shoes. Yeah. And then I would say, well, how would you do it if you had a violation? The community was complaining about that, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know the backstory, and I think that's where the misconception. Because I know our officers, I want to know, did you hear it from a community that the speeders between the times of 9 and 10 when the kids are getting into school, a lot of complaints. Like, I don't want to get tickets. I think policing now, when he's the chief, is focused, not quotas. It's quotas to address community problems. Our commissioner says, listen to the community, not even data sometimes. Wow. I want to hear it from the community. Because data will show things. Right. Our commissioner, Cox, is like, I want to hear it from the community, the problem, and you address the problems that you personally heard from them. Okay, so
the Nora show, Mike show, everyone. I'm just going to spit out of the way.
I'm going to follow up.
See, we can go all day. This is
going to be 2 hours. Let me know the time again.
Let's see what the end with that. Come on now. But Chief, tell me how to end the place. End the show.
I will. I'll try to. Very different community, right? And we do the same thing. We want to look at what the community is saying to you. This is what the problem is. These are the quality of life issues. We want to deal with them. But going back to your point, how do I help my community? It is a very all-white community. And so how do we turn around and put things in place that reduce the fear?
Right.
So there's a couple of things that I have done. Officers, they get a phone call, they have to go to the call. They want to go to the call because that's what we do. People call us, we want to provide services.
Yeah.
Well, what if you get the call if we have two black people parked on the side of the road? Well, someone comes, they look at it when the residents call me, what's suspicious activity? What's suspicious about it? So I wanted to make sure, like, they felt this need to go, and they didn't want to get in trouble for not going because of the duty to act. What's the really duty to act? There's no crime, but it's suspicious. But yet we ask the community, you see something, say something. So there's all these conflicting messages out there. So I was like, listen, here's the thing, officers, and I put it in writing. If you get a call and it's purely based on race, don't go. If you choose to go, then go speak to the caller and find out if you're developing any reasonable suspicion. You will not get in trouble for not going if the call is just based on a person's race. That's it. And so now they feel better because they're like, okay, I don't have to go. Chief says I don't have to go. He'll back me up in the fact that if the resident complains later on to the senior elected officials, he can say, no, this is the policy of our department. We're not going to go to these calls anymore. We're not going to, because what happens? You interact with somebody as police officers, that drives up, it's adversarial, it's confrontational, it starts getting loud, it starts getting possible use of force, and possible, violence and death. Why? Because someone was parked on the side of the road on a public way. It doesn't make sense. So let's get rid of that.
Okay, that's your policy. That's basically your policy because it also been going in the academy and training.
Yeah.
So we bring the awareness, the history of policing, and it's all about training and giving the officers the awareness. Remember, 30 years ago, we just went in. It wasn't that. It wasn't this awareness of our community, feelings, fears. That was not taught us in academy 30 years ago. But it is now because it's real now, and we're aware of it, and we're making sure our officers are aware of it. And what are we doing about it? Through policy, through training. It's more on that heavy than not more than equal. How do you properly pull a car over? Like it's really policing has changed because of posts, because of mandates, because of
It's also empowering our officers to make the decisions that they need to. Like, the fact that was brought forward is, we want to go because they called. Okay. And they were afraid of not doing something. I was told, like, okay, people call 911, people call because we have to go. Now, we want to do the right thing by going, but we don't want to cause any issues. And so, like, okay, let's get rid of the issues. Let's don't go. Or if you do go, find out why did you call? Why do you get that? Why did you call? Well, they don't look like they're from the neighborhood. Okay, but they're not public way. Let's unpack the fact that you call the police just based on race. And it's happened a few times. And so, and when that happens, we only got 12 people. And so, I find out about the calls. Like, this happened. I follow up. I want to call that person and say, why did you call? What can we do? How can we make you get, not be afraid of things?
And the better way is you're afraid. So, you know what you could do?
What can I do? Y'all listen. What can we do?
What if you joined the police department?
Oh,
you make sure you know no, because it's when you say what do people do, a lot of people come on the job and I say why do I want to become a cop. One of the things is the cop in my neighborhood was not friendly to us. He was always bothering us. We played sports. Once again, didn't know the call ahead of time. It could have been like playing football and sitting in everyone's car and getting damaged. But we saw it as he was bothering us. He never built relationships. So I said, I'm going to become a cop. And when I do, I'm going to make sure I'm the cop that builds relationships and is nice. And then 360, I became his boss.
Very well.
Like I said, like Jamila and Crumley and all these women, I'm bringing in black women, how you feel. But then you become the officer yourself, conscious of that. Even white, black, it doesn't matter. We all even black officers are nervous.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's that, but you also, a lot of people, that's when they say policing has changed. In their community, they felt that way. We've got a lot of officers saying, I want to make the change. Be the change to make the change.
You have to have strong support. These officers need strong support. They want to make the change. There's there's officers that don't want to make the change. So the fact that I was so impressed with what you said, that you were able to choose your own team, that is absolutely amazing because you were able to surround yourself with people that wanted to. So you
supported me, yes.
You were not fighting younger officers, ordering them all right, we're going to go and make a
Yeah.
community. No, you had people that wanted the change, did it, and you were able to lead those
Yeah.
individuals. So that is absolutely impressive that your boss at the time would do that. That is great. That's great leadership.
When's our next podcast?
Yeah.
Listen, I might change the name of the show. You took the question out of the next episode.
I'm even bringing guests to you next time.
Yes, thank you. Lord. Okay. My last question.
Okay.
My last question. What is your greatest accomplishment as an officer? Your greatest accomplishment as an officer? Ha, look at, now they're quiet, now they're quiet.
I'm going to answer it all
So that's-
differently.
So there's difference. I think for one of the things for me, there's two things: inside the station and outside the station, internally and externally. Okay. So obviously, inside the station, the greatest accomplishment for me was getting to the position of chief. Right? It was a law. I wasn't expecting it when it happened. It was unexpected for me to get to the position. I skipped a few ranks. We don't have captains and deputy chiefs or deputy superintendents in my agency, so we go sergeant, lieutenant chief. I skipped a lieutenant, so that was a great accomplishment. The fact that that supporting the people I had, I could do the job. Outside, my biggest accomplishment when I was the years to get into a house that were in the community with drugs, and I was finally able, through investigations and be able to get into that house and do search warrants on that house, get the house condemned, and the people who lived there, the father's bedroom, services, all that. The house was a horrible, horrible house. Today, there were 3 houses next to each other. They've all been torn down. They've all been rebuilt. Families have moved in, and I restored a little section of my community to have that. And to me, that was a giant accomplishment because it doesn't affect just those couple of houses there.
Yeah.
It's that whole area that people live in. And so everyone in that community now, everyone is very thankful for the fact that we were able to do that. And it took a long time, and it took a lot of work because we 12 people, but we make relationships, right? I'm sure we'll talk to the superintendent further after this. But I built relationships with other officers in other communities, so now we all help each other. So we have like 67 towns that come together, and we're able to work at case. You know, we can restore them a little bit, and that's what I'm really proud of. That's one of my biggest accomplishments. There's other ones in there too but that one was.
We need that. We need part 2.
Yeah, part 2. Well, part 2's coming. Part 2's coming.
Mine would be the same. I mean, my accomplishments probably mushed together as community, internal, external. So I said I've been on 29 years, and for 18 of those years, I've been on the command staff. I lasted 5 different mayors and 5 different police commissioners. Wow. And my accomplishment is that I've been able to build a team, because I have not been alone in this journey at all. From internal, from people that have retired, other females on the command staff have been amazing support that I talk to daily, weekly, and the team of officers that are not the rank, and some of the rank, but the team that really has supported me and always made sure I felt valued, and when I felt down, they made sure I had a seat at the table and I was being heard. And to see that journey that the department, I feel like when I was begging cops to come in and having to beg people that weren't, that the department, I've watched it, been a front row seat to watch it change. You have unions who get a bad rap, right? Don't care about the community, cooking at our cookouts. Union President Larry Caldrone's cooking out at every barbecue for us. We call it union up. Now, unions usually known as like, they don't care for the community. Right. They're every community you can name one here, and I can tell you exactly if you were a program that they're running. And really watch the journey of the police department change and embrace community policing and get so many guns and drugs off the street, keep people safe, lowest crime rate in 30 years, I think the mayor said 70 years, 70 years, and have a commissioner and a command staff. It's like all came at once, like everything is finally, and I feel like that's an accomplishment because I've been there to have a front row seat and be part of that change, and hopefully empower the Jamillas and the Curlings and the Skies and everyone else to be that next regime, because they really, when they come in, we were great. They are the future and they are the now. And I really feel like I've been able to see them come on as rookies, and now they're the future leaders.
Where do you see community engagement, policing, law enforcement? What does that look like for the next? What do you think it will look like in 5 years? Get quiet, man.
No, not quiet, because, no, you didn't get us quiet.
Oh, okay, sorry. Did y'all see this?
When you have Officer Jamila in Curling Town, you're going to be blown away. Because they're bringing it actually to the next 5 years already. Doing podcasts, bringing, usually we play basketball, not in the sports. We had Whitman Blue, Officer Canuto, we all played, it was a bunch of us that played college basketball one time. So we played every high school in Boston. We would come and they're like, no police ladies, we would beat them by 40.
Right.
And the commissioner coming in once and he's like, is that really the score? And I'm like, oh yeah. And I walk around the community. But I do sports. But to see how much, like I said, every department in every district, like every, has brought community policing, I wonder why, because they've already brought it beyond my eyes. Instead of going to Canopy Lake, road girls are going to the Martha's Vineyard. Because they want to make sure these black and brown girls know, and I've never been bad, right? Because you think Martha's Vineyard, I already have my stereotypes. Right. And that's what I'm saying. So she's bringing programs. We're not going to the movies. These officers are bringing them to college visits, all the black colleges. They just did a tour. Like, yes.
Okay,
that's why it's like at our level, like we brought it a long way. We saw the journey, but these newer generation, and I think the support is there. And I think that's the big difference when it wasn't. Even though my commissioner supported this, from the chief, commissioner down, we really are supporting and pushing and embracing and giving those accommodations. We never had an accommodation for doing a program. We made fun of they weren't a real cop years ago. Right. And now, do you know what I mean? So now I think when you say where's it going, I'm curious to see, because when you meet and have them sit at this table, you're going to be blown away from our era to this new generation. And they all look like 10 years, 15 years in, and so imagine the other generation that you say in 5 years. It's headed in the right direction. How about that?
I'll take it.
How about that? It's going to make it even closer, and our communities are happy with us. Our communities have accepted us. It's not an event that they're not asking us to be part of it, and not for security. And that's one of the differences. The security aspect, they're asking us to be there. To be at the events that have nothing to do with police. Sneaker ball, we're at Embrace Boston, right? As Narb asked them, become as Narb asked them. So the superintendent asked them that they want to, we're part of our community, and they're begging us to come. I think that's a big change.
It's hard for me to follow up on, but I'm just going to say I absolutely agree, because we are training better. Our officers are coming out of the academy with a different mindset. Having our field training is a lot different. As I stated earlier, it's about meeting people, getting connections in the community. And so what's happening already is that you can't change, it's hard to change the culture, right? The culture from outside, but from inside. As people start leaving and retiring, and we get these new officers with some great ideas and this great motivation behind them, and then they can turn around and they start changing the culture. And it's looking at how we interact with our community. It's how do we service our residents, and how can we make sure that we're treating people better? It's already starting. It's already the fact. Like, so in 5 years, 5 years, it's going to be even better than it is now.
So much. So, everyone, thank you all so much for tuning in for today's show. Once again, check out the episode. Leave some comments in the chat section, and subscribe, share, let me know what you think. But some of the takeaways that I want you to think about as you watch the episode, or as you go back and rewatch the episode, how culture shifted, how hashtag it could have been me, but, and they talk about the supports, and they talk about the barriers they've broken down, and take a look at their most proudest accomplishments as well, and what that means for the episode, and what it means to the great work that they have dedicated as law enforcement officials. So, all good. Stay tuned for more. We're just getting started. A lot of energy. As a matter of fact, we're going to bring them back for part 2. Check it out. We'll talk soon. Love you.